Hello everyone and welcome back to the Skyward NASCAR Grand Championship pre-season test here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of NASCAR racing. My name is Kevin Arson, I'm your commentator, and this is the test. We are watching just all these drivers do a bunch of laps, get their feel for these new cars, get their feel for everything, and then, hopefully get some entertainment out of it while I answer, some of your questions about what's going to happen this upcoming season of NASCAR. Because there are a lot of changes on the way, so, that's why Skyward Incorporated, the new title sponsor and the new, basically manager of NASCAR, they basically said we're going to televise at least some of these tests, see how these drivers do, and learn ourselves, teach our audience about the changes, and that's why I'm here. So, we talked a lot about the technical stuff before the commercial break. These cars, in essence being next-gen cars that we've seen compete since like 2022, but slightly different. They have a bit more power, their aero is different, they're a bit faster, they're a bit more racy, is what we've heard from a lot of the competitors here at Charlotte during this test. But yeah, I got a pretty good question through the app actually, which is, recap some more of the non-technical changes, because there's a lot of them, and I think it's a good thing to, go through them, talk about them, because, a lot of people will need it, and that's not meant as disrespect, that's genuinely just meant as a genuine, not a compliment, that's not the word I'm looking for, but it's genuinely meant because it is very confusing, the changes. So let's just go through some of them. I actually have a list there, so we're just gonna see, what's different, what's not, and we're gonna start with the biggest change, the one that caught everyone off guard, which is that as of right now, as of this test, the NASCAR Cup Series, now renamed to the Skyward NASCAR Grand Championship, does not have teams anymore. None of them. Which is absolutely insane if you think about it. There's no more Hendrick Motorsports. There's no more Joe Gibbs Racing. These teams are all gone. Every driver you see here on this track has been invited by Skyward Incorporated to compete. That's why it's called a Grand Championship. It's sort of like a invite-only championship. There's a lot of NASCAR legends here, but there's a lot of other motorsports legends as well, which is hopefully what makes this series so interesting. At least that's what we hope here tonight as we watch these cars go by. But yeah, all these cars are provided by Skyward Incorporated. They've been tested, designed, made by the tech company. The manufacturers that you see there have had a lot of input on the cars. I mean, of course, they have their logos on them. They should. But they overall, like, a lot of it has been developed by Skyward Incorporated natively in the NASCAR facilities here in Charlotte and in Florida, which is what's hopefully gonna make these cars insane. That's that was basically the goal. A lot of entertainment value. But yeah, no more teams. All these cars here, all these drivers are running for themselves and no one else. So now you see Alan Woods here on the screen. He's a rookie this year. Maybe not a good example there. Up ahead, you can see Christopher Bell. He's just running for himself here. There's no Joe Gibbs teammates. There's nothing like that. Now, there is a bit of a contradiction in there, being that a lot of the manufacturers, a lot of the drivers still chose cars that, align with their teams. Like, you'll see a lot of the Joe Gibbs guys still run Toyotas. You'll see a lot of the Hendrick guys run something General Motors related. But overall, the teams are entirely out of the question. They've been completely bought out. Organizationally speaking, they still exist as as an advisory body to this car, one step below the manufacturers, if I recall correctly. But yeah, practically speaking, there's no more teams. Everyone's running for themselves and their sponsor, which is because these cars are all managed and built and, provided by Skyward Incorporated. The sponsorship cost has gone down, which means that every car will be running the same sponsor for the entire season, simply because all the sponsors can now afford it, which is a really nice change, which will hopefully help some brand recognition and stuff, which was also the hope. But yeah, overall a lot of changes. Just in the in the fact that there's no more teams. All these guys are running for themselves. And yeah, that's insane. Speaking of changes, which we are doing, that's kind of the point of this broadcast here, as we watch here 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson reunited with his Lowe's car. But yeah, no, speaking of changes, the points format has been shaken up, which is something a lot of people have been hoping for. It might not be as radical as most people would think, in the sense that it's very similar to the playoff system that we've had since 2015, 2014. That was in use in the 2025 season, of course. But it is a bit different. There's no points reset anymore in the playoffs, except for the Final Four, which means that you still have to have a consistently good season to bank on. You can't just hope that everyone is equal again after the round resets. Also, Win and You're In has been removed after it was deemed very unpopular due to fluke winners, or well, let's just call them underdogs. Now this series will not have a lot of underdogs in them, but it can still happen, and we would rather have the top 16 in points make it, which is what's going to happen here. The top 16 in regular season points are going to advance through the playoffs. No matter if you win, no matter what else happens, top 16 in points, that's where you have to be to make the playoffs. And with 41 cars, that's quite a hard ask. It's less than half the cars that make it. It seems like a big number until the second you're 17th, only a few points behind. That's when it gets messed up. But yeah, overall the system, the build up of the system is still very similar. You got a round of 16, round of 12, round of 8, and a Final Four winner takes all race, which is just very similar to what it used to be. And yeah, that's in essence the point system. It's very similar, except slightly changed. It's also got a new name now. It's called The Hunt, which obviously a bit of a joke on the chase name that we used to have before we called it the playoffs. But yeah, it's a new name, and it's hopefully gonna provide us with some good racing. It's been implemented to be seen as a bit more legitimate than the playoff system was, which was seen as very gimmicky. But yeah, this is hopefully, according to Skyward Incorporated, this is hopefully a balance between the gimmick, the entertainment, I should say. Hopefully a balance between the entertainment and the sporting aspect, which, we hope it is too. Don't worry about that. We're gonna actually move on, because that's not the only change. The schedule has been significantly altered. We only have 30 races now in the season, with of course 10 playoff races. So you have 20 races to qualify yourself in that top 16, which kind of puts the pressure on. People were calling for a shorter schedule, have been calling for that for a while. Especially in the garage area, of course, where, they have to do all the work to get these cars from place to place. But yeah, 30 races this year in the Skyward NASCAR Grand Championship. A trade-off of that is that there's a lot more international events. So if I'm just going to go through this, we of course have Daytona and Atlanta opening the season. It's basically a tradition at this point. Then we go to Montreal in Canada. And after that we go to Sonoma in California. So that's a very difficult journey to make, which is why it's appreciated that there's a lot less races here. After Sonoma we go to Auto Club, we go to Bristol for the night race, because every track will only have one spot on the schedule this season, which is of course a relatively new change that usually doesn't happen. Usually NASCAR races have a solid 2 dates, a lot of them. But this year, not anymore. Every race will only have 1 date, and that's why it was chosen to run the night race earlier, to preserve it, because the night race is the more popular one at Bristol. Then we go to Colorado Motor Speedway, the short track that made its debut 2 years ago in the Cup Series. We go to Laguna Seca, the infamous road course. That's going to be a lot of fun. We got Chicagoland back, which was, a lot of fans hope for that. You can very much see, Skyward Incorporated hoping to, you know, bring some fans in with the old tracks that we all know and love. And definitely, you know, they're going to make some sweeping changes. But, you know, here's some good old-fashioned tracks. Here's Chicagoland. Here's Darlington, which, you know, also an amazing track, an amazing race. The Southern 500. It's always in tradition. So good to see that back. Then we go to Lucas Oil, the short track in near Indianapolis in the Indiana state, which is an odd choice, but it was kind of explained by the fact that Skyward Incorporated couldn't get the rights to run NASCAR at Indy anymore. Now it's not entirely sure how that happened, because, you know, NASCAR has been having no problems running at Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the Brickyard. But when Skyward Incorporated came asking, they, you know, they didn't give them. So for now, NASCAR won't be returning to the Brickyard this year. They'll be running Lucas Oil, the short track. Then we got, you know, some staples. We got Watkins Glen, we got Kansas, we got Road America, all standard. Then we got an international swing. We got to Zandvoort in Europe, which, you know, made its debut actually last year as a exhibition event in the European Federation, which you know, was a pretty cool event. It actually had all the cup cars and everything, and now it's a points-paying race. Then we go to Bathurst, which is absolutely going to be insane with these cars. You know, several NASCAR drivers have attempted to run in Australia in Bathurst, either with the V8 supercars, with the GT3s, or in other ways. And now they're finally gonna do a cup race there. And then Skyward Incorporated's shiny new facility, the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, which has been facing some criticism, if I'm completely honest with you. But yeah, Yas Marina is a track on the schedule. Skyward Incorporated has totally cleaned it up, totally changed it up. The layout's still the same, but, you know, the facilities around it are different and hopefully better, is what they claim. But yeah, they are paying me, so, you know, I will agree with them. But yeah, Yas Marina. Then we go to Michigan, which is, you know, Michigan, great track. Then we go to Fiji Speedway in Japan, which is an insane track to visit. You know, just going to Fiji. But yeah, that will be a lot of fun, I think. Seeing cup cars go around that track. And then finally we get our cutoff race at a new short track, brand new construction, beautiful looking track, the Adam Petty Memorial Speedway. Which, yeah, it's a short track, it's very modern, it looks very good. You know, it's exactly the kind of style that NASCAR wants, that Skyward Incorporated wants, and that's where we cut off the top 16 in points. Then we got the round of 16, which has Charlotte with the Coca-Cola 600, making that a playoff race, which also was interesting. That's due to it being such an endurance race that it was thought it had to be, you know, in the playoffs, and making it the first race. Just, you know, make sure that that first round of 16 winner, you know, that is a lot of skill required to win. So that was the thought process there. Then we go to Vegas, you know, standard track. And then we go to Le Mans, the French endurance race circuit. No one is quite sure how they managed to convince the FIA to allow them there, when Skyward couldn't get the IndyCar organization to agree, to get Tony Stewart to agree, mind you. But they could get them off for the round of 16 closer, which is sure to provide a lot of chaos, a lot of greatness. The round of 12 opens with Talladega because we can still have some insanity in the playoffs, in the hunt, I should say. I've been mispronouncing that. So, thank you if you were correcting me by yelling at the screen. You were absolutely correct. But yeah, we go to Talladega. We go to Spa, the Belgian circuit, which is going to be an amazing stop. They had an exhibition event last year too. It was part of the same event as Zandvoort overall, part of the same swing. And now they're a playoff race, a hunt race, I should say. A hunt which is going to be, completely exciting. I'm very hyped to see how that runs. And then we cut off the round of 12 at Martinsville. Not the round of 8, but the round of 12. Which was due to the round of 8 cutoff also being chosen. And that being, determined to be more interesting. Let's just say it like that. Because the round of 8 is an insane round. And the cutoff had to be insane too. And although Martinsville is a great track, Skyward Incorporated felt that it needed a bit more modern short track facility to truly cap off, the hunt before the finale. So, anyways, the round of that's where we cut that off. And then the round of 8 is Monza, which is going to be insane too. Monza, just like Le Mans, no one really knows how they did that. NASCAR has no ties to that track. But it's going to be amazing seeing these cars, who are already used to pretty high speeds on these ovals, get a chance to, see how fast they run on one of the fastest European circuits. Then we got the Daytona Beach track, which is returning. A bit of a play on nostalgia there, but it's going to be amazing. Of course, there's a lot of updated safety features and whatnot, don't worry. But yeah, they're going to be running along the beach and the road, just like they did in the 1950s. And it's going to be a bit chaotic, but it's going to provide one hell of a round of 8 spot. And then we cut off the round of 8 at a brand new facility, once again, the NA Motordrome. Which is a big facility, a stadium. It's basically a stadium, a modern stadium that has a short track in it. It's great, but still, it's still half a mile. It's not like the Clash the Bowman Gray and the LA Coliseum Stadium that they used to run the Clash at. But yeah, it's going to be an epic short track race. There's a lot of beating and banging going on. It's very similar to Bristol, which is going to make it a perfect cutoff. And at that point we'll see who makes the Final Four. The Final Four finale, which will of course be run at Homestead. Now, that might be more of a traditionalist pick. But honestly, who can blame them? The Homestead finale's always got the highest views and the highest amount of viewers, and that's why we're back there. So, that's the majority, that's the schedule done. So yeah, a lot of changes, a lot of unique changes, I think. And I'm definitely interested to see, where that's going to go, where that's going to lead NASCAR, because it might go a bit crazy on some of these races, but international expansion is always a good thing. So I'm very ready to see what this season brings. Now, there's also been some changes with the cars themselves on a non-technical level. We got some new car models in the sport, and we're looking at the first one here. This is the new Ford Mustang. Last year and the year before that, they ran the Mustang Dark Horse, which is, the super powerful muscle car version of the Mustang. But right now, Ford is actually switching to running, well, at least the logos of the Mustang GTD based on the GT3 race car. Ford has said this was an effort to, kind of equalize the various motorsports branches, make sure everything is a bit more standardized, everything is a bit more samey, make sure that there's one Ford Mustang motorsports brand, which is going to be, based on the GTD cars. As you can see, these new cars have yellow light decals, which is, based on the endurance racing rules that, GT cars have to have yellow lights, so now these have too. And these new Fords have, more aggressive lines, they have more aggressive vents and everything. They look a bit more like big race cars, which is going to make them awesome to watch here on the track. Chevrolet has also announced their new car for the 2026 season after running a fake Camaro for 2025 because the Camaro was not being produced anymore, so the decals just said Chevrolet. They will be bringing back to active production the Chevy Malibu, the sedan. It will only get a sports version. It'll be a limited-ish run, just enough for it to be homologated basically, and that car will also be competing in this year's NASCAR season. You can see it here. You know, it's got lines that are very similar to the Camaro, especially in the rear of the car. But overall, it's clearly, you know, it's clearly a unique car. It's a good looking car, if I may say so myself. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, if this changes up anything about Chevy, because of course the Camaro has been a legendary race car since it was introduced, and now, you know, we're running this sedan basically. But I can't wait to see where Chevy takes this car. The other brand that has fully decided to change their car model has been Toyota, who, you know, they ran the Camry. They've run the Camry for however many years now. But Skyward Incorporated actually requested they change that car as they're looking for, you know, a more high technology, luxury, you know, more of that image that NASCAR previously didn't, or very limited had. But yeah, Toyota responded by choosing the Avalon as their next NASCAR car. That's a very big luxury sedan made by Toyota. And well, its most striking feature you can see there, it's got a massive grille. I mean, look at that. It looks like it's going to bite its competitors, honestly. Apart from that, it's a Toyota. It's a good looking car. Even with the grille, a lot of Toyotas have chosen for black paint schemes, however, or, you know, schemes that kind of cover up the mouth, but not this M&M's car, which displays it fully and proudly, so shall we say. But yeah, apart from that, the Avalon is looking, you know, to be a good NASCAR car. It's something different, which I think, you know, we all need sometimes. And I'm excited to see what Toyota has in store with this car. And then the final change to cars is Cadillac, who have, you know, they haven't gone through a major revolution like Chevy or Toyota. They've just updated their CT5V Blackwing to, you know, the current model year. So that's a bit more aggressive lines, you know, it's a bit more pronounced, etc. But those are basically the changes to this car. It's always been a very good looking car. I mean, in the intro, nowadays we still have the old version, but, you know, I can guarantee you that you won't be seeing that much difference. But, you know, this is a good looking car, and I am excited for Cadillac to, you know, put this car truly through its paces here in the Skyward NASCAR Grand Championship. Another fun fact, actually, is that we have, this season, we'll have a record amount of NASCAR champions in the field due to the invitational structure of everything. A lot of champions have either been invited or, you know, haven't retired yet, and were asked to be a part of it. And a lot of them said yes, which is amazing. You know, going by car numbers, we got Kyle Larson, your 2021 champion. Keselowski, Brad Keselowski, who of course won the 2012 championship. Chase Elliott, who won in 2020 during the COVID years. Got Matt Kenseth, the 2003 champion, actually making a return to racing in a 17 car, which is going to be amazing to see. Kyle Busch is of course in the field. He's won in 2015, 2019, two-time champion. Christopher Bell, your reigning champion, the 2025 champion. I'm saying that word a lot, but it's the only descriptor. But yeah, Christopher Bell, your reigning champion, is of course in the field as well. We got Joey Logano, the 2018 and 2022 champion, another two-time champion here in the field. He's gonna probably do well. It is an even year after all, 2026, so watch out. We got William Byron, your 2024 champion. He's running here, of course. Kevin Harvick, the 2014 Cup champion, is returning too, which is going to be amazing. He's just like Kenseth, actually. He's driving a Lexus, which is going to be cool, seeing those two in the same car. Because I don't feel like we've seen that ever. No, it's always been like when Harvick finally went to Ford, you know, Kenseth was already driving Toyotas. So yeah, we've never seen that. But anyways, moving on. Then of course we got the big one, Jimmy Johnson, you know, 7-time Cup champion, has agreed to return to drive a 48 Lowe's car. You've seen it during this testing session numerous times, I think. It's a great looking car, and it's great to have, you know, such a legend of the sport back with us. We got Martin Truex Jr., who won in 2017 and 2023. He's come out of retirement to drive, you know, his 78 car once again. And then we got Kurt Busch coming back, his first time behind the wheel of a stock car again, has been these tests. And he's shown surprising speed. He's going to be driving the 97 car. And he's, of course, your 2004 champion. But those aren't the only champions that will be competing in this invitational, as we got a lot of international GT and endurance drivers who will be joining us here. You know, they've been called upon. Skyward Incorporated has deliberately not asked any Formula 1 drivers, citing that, you know, there's a conflict of interest there, and that these guys, you know, they do not have the control of big cars like a GT driver would. You know, a GT3 driver knows how to handle a big car in a way that a NASCAR driver does too, but a Formula 1 driver absolutely doesn't. So, you know, you got Kevin Estre, part of this. He's won the Endurance Big Four, I believe it is. You know, Spa, Daytona, Nürburgring, and Le Mans, all top of the line. You know, he's one of the best car drivers, period. You got Michel Fagnon, the French driver. I was about to say German. Well, nowadays it's all the European Federation, but you know, he's actually he's from the French province, and Michel is actually being sponsored by his own pseudo car company. It used to be an actual car company. Nowadays they mainly tune Renaults, and if you ever bought a French car in the United States, chances are you bought a Vaillante, which is, you know, they do sell the Renaults and stuff in the US when Renault themselves doesn't. You got Raffaele Marciello, very talented guy. You got Samantha Tan in the BMW. She's great. She's actually had some experience with NASCAR before, so it's good to see her here. You got Alessandro Guidi, the Ferrari driver, driving a Maserati, because it's all part of the same group, even though it's quite funny. You got, you know, Jordan Taylor, the American endurance legend, driving a Cadillac, of course. You got Marcos Ambrose. You actually see him here on screen. He's part of the Console Wars, which we'll see plenty of in the remaining season. You know, the war between the two BMWs, the Xbox and the PlayStation BMW. But yeah, Marcos Ambrose running the Xbox car, and they got Nicky Katzberg, another BMW driver. He will be running, you know, his own Robo car, and they're gonna hopefully, you know, spice up the grid a bit, add some insanity, add some, you know, new perspective, not insanity, add some new perspective here that our Cup drivers don't have. We got two YouTubers who are known for their driving, actually, which is, you know, a first for NASCAR. But they have been invited by Skyward, and they graciously accepted. We got Nick Andrew of the AR12 Gaming channel, and we got Gary Owen of the Goen, which is, you know, named after himself, channel. Both racing gamers, both have some experience behind the wheel in IRL racing, and now, you know, they've moved it up to the big leagues. They actually got a select few stars last year, so, you know, they didn't just drop out the sky. And that's really gonna allow, you know, a younger demographic to connect with this sport. Then there's the mysterious new drivers, as they have been dubbed by a lot of fans. We've seen your comments. Don't worry. Yeah, there's a large group of drivers that people claim to have never heard of, even though they do have quite some success. But a lot of people claim they've never heard of them. Now I'm going to rattle off the names here. You got Tanner Campos, who won the Trans Am Championship in 2025. You got Paul Donlan, who won the Xfinity Championship last year and the year before that, after apparently spawning out of nowhere, whatever that means. You got Alex Morrill, who's won in Super GT. You got Tree Leclerc, who's a part of the Volkswagen Group F1 Academy. Alan Mooch, who won the World Touring Car Racing Championship. Gary Russell won an Indy 500. Nora Maximoff, the 2025 Trucks champion, actually, once again, after spawning out of nowhere, whatever that means. Evan Taddy, who's won a multiple spot 24 hours. Quinn Yeager, the 2025 GT World America champion. And right after him, another GT champion, NASCAR with the 2025 DTM Championship. So 2 GT champions there. Don't know how they escaped your notice throughout those years, but sure. We got Jordan Fox, who won the Well and Modified Championship in 2024, and Clover Styles, who won the World GT4 Challenge in 2024. All of these are, they're not established names. Sure, I'll give you that, but it's not like they just poof appeared in. The reason for their invite, I see why that could be a topic of discussion, because yeah, they are proven, but they're not on the level of Kevin Estre or Kyle Busch or those names. But I'm excited to see what they can do. They're all rookies. They all chose their own cars. They're all bringing brand new sponsors to the sport. So it's going to be exciting to see what they do. Now, before I leave you for our final commercial break, before we have our last segment of this preseason testing, one last thing: the availability. Where can you watch this sport? Well, worldwide, you can watch through the Skyward Entertainment Center, an app/webpage managed by Skyward Incorporated, where for a small fee you can watch without ads, or for free you can watch with ads. Every single Skyward NASCAR Grand Championship event, and it's an amazing experience. You have scanners on there. You got multiple camera angles. You can even switch out commentators. You can switch out me for someone in your native language, or even not your native language, if you just want to screw around and listen to someone in French, even though you don't speak that. If you're on the other hand, if you do want to watch some classic legacy TV, that is available. In the United States, NBC has got the contract, so sometimes depends on what channel they'll show it, usually on the main channel though. But yeah, the full season will be broadcast by NBC and their team. You got if you live in the European Federation, you got the EUBC1, of course the standard European broadcast channel, which is airing the crown jewels and the select few European races. Most races you'll be able to watch on RTL Sport, and they will air at the same time on RTL Motorsport, which will air I believe there's 2 races that won't air on RTL Sport for whatever reason, but they will be airing on RTL Motorsport. And you can watch them anywhere in the European Federation for free. But yeah, those are the free channels. In Japan, you got the NHK group that are taking it over with their 2 channels. You can either watch on NHK General, a lot of the races, and all of the races will be on NHK Sports. Have I not mentioned your country, your location, then just assume it will be on your local Fox Sports channel, where everything, all those international broadcasts are dealt. So the Fox Sports Mexico, Fox Sports Australia, and so on and so forth. But that's if you really want to watch Legacy TV, or you can join me and everyone else at the Skyward Entertainment Center, which is going to be amazing. If you want to listen through radio, which is, pretty dead platform, I'm sorry, but, if you do, we got a worldwide distribution contract with iHeart, the radio broadcasting system, which you can also listen to through the Radio Garden app, an app where you can listen to everywhere, to radio from around the world, if they agree to it. And, iHeart and us have graciously agreed that it's allowed for you to listen to NASCAR broadcasts over that app. And there will be a dedicated radio broadcast, not done by me, unfortunately, but there will be a dedicated radio broadcast on the Skyward Entertainment Center as well. With that, we're going to cut to commercials, and we will hopefully see you after the break.